Welcome to our weekly live stream that I do every single week with my team. And today's topic, let's jump right in. It's all about calories. I know a lot of you guys, though, don't really count calories anymore. I would love to know if you're watching this live stream with me, if you are currently counting calories. Counting, restricting, monitoring, tracking, any of the above. Let me know if you are currently focusing on calories in your life. And also let me know where you guys are located. So today I really want to focus on calories and why maybe being in a calorie deficit is just not working for you and your weight loss goals. And then also 5 top mistakes to avoid, because we get a lot of questions in the Steak and Butter Gang almost every single meeting asking, well, how many calories am I supposed to be eating? Or what types of apps should I be using to track my calories and or macros? And it's funny because when you have been a carnivore for a very long time, naturally you let go of the habit of counting calories and just focusing on all the numbers. So this includes stepping on the scale, tracking how much you weigh. A lot of long-term carnivores don't care about that anymore because you stop losing weight and instead you start getting body recomposition, which is confusing because a lot of carnivores will see that the weight on their scale doesn't change or doesn't change much, maybe even goes up, but yet their clothes are fitting looser. Has anyone experienced this phenomenon? Let me know. So I'll start off with just a little story of my personal experience with calories, and that is when I was on a vegan diet. And I always love to talk about my vegan experience because there's just nothing more different and night and day, like literally the opposite from how I live today. I'm 6.5 years high fat carnivore today. Okay. And when I was on a vegan diet, I was pretty much the exact opposite of a high fat carnivore. Low fat, high carb vegan for 6 years as well. And I just remember struggling hard to get those last 10 pounds off because I would constantly be starving, constantly be thinking about food. I just was never satiated. And yet I thought counting calories and restricting my calories down to 1,400 calories could let that weight go like forever. It works for the first 2 weeks, but after those initial 2 weeks, in my experience, my hunger starts becoming more and more ravenous, more and more uncontrollable, to the point where I start binging. I start deepening my unhealthy relationship with food, and I start gaining it back, if not more than where I started off from. How is it that I can eat at least 2,500 calories a day now as a high fat carnivore and I don't have to worry about the scale? I don't even care about how much I weigh. I don't ever worry about needing to lose weight. I am just happy with the body that I'm in now. It's the least of my worries. Instead, I'm caring about how do I up my productivity? How do I have more mental clarity? How do I maintain my amazing sleep and good mood every day? That's what I care about. So anyways, that's my experience. Let me know again if you currently are counting calories or restricting calories. This is today's topic. I'm going to bring on the first member of my team, Todd Bockness, and he's going to share his experience with calorie deficits and his top mistakes to avoid. Welcome, Todd.
Welcome. Howdy. Hey, yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and I think that, when I found SBG, I was still treating carnivore like a calorie restricted diet. I was still in a restricted mindset. It was at SBG that I learned how carnivore is actually, a healing way of eating and not even a diet at all. But I'd been doing so many calorie restrictive diets, and I was doing OMAD for 9.5 months before I found SBG and kind of the priming protocol, and that really proved to me exactly what I'd been missing. That you can be, morbidly obese, 700 pounds, and be malnourished, to be actually completely, hormonally imbalanced, low metabolism, and all of it being a nutrients problem. And this is so incredibly obvious to me now. The more blood tests that I get, and the more things that I see improving as I heal here and at the 33-month mark. And so I think, on that list, my number one mistake was bringing a restrictive mindset into carnivore, and because that so limits everything that you're doing. You're just using it as the same calorie restricted model, and it's just been so clear to me. So now I watch, because I lost 300 pounds twice in my life before, and 200 pounds
Mhm.
twice in my life before, and gained it all back through the calorie restricted model because I was still malnourished, and it got even worse because when when you're going through and you get you get in this shape, you at least were eating some protein and some saturated fat with all the carbs and stuff, and you went through your developing whatever years and you put some muscle and bone on. But every time I went through a calorie restricted process where I would lose 300 pounds, I was starving to death. So it was taking a lot of that lean tissue with it. It was eating a lot of the muscle, it was eating a lot of the bone and everything. And then you weren't curing the problem. You still had metabolic disease, hormone problems. You weren't treating the root cause. And so you'd finally fall off because you were just starving, and
Mhm.
you would put it back on because with more empty calories, and so you get weaker every time, and you'd put on more body fat, lose less, more lean tissue. And that's why I realized now, looking back, I kept getting sicker and sicker every time I went through this roller coaster, and I had a worse, I had more metabolic disease. And so now I
Totally.
look back, I was tracking my average calories on how I got to 700 pounds, and it was on a 45 to 5,500 calorie a day diet. It was, and mostly through drinking. It was all sugar, drinking energy drinks and soda. And then I turned back around at SPG. I was eating 7,000 plus calories a day of
Crazy.
protein and fat, and I lose 330 pounds, but I'm completely free. And so that's completely changed my mindset. And I've been really digging into it now because I see all over TikTok, and I'm watching these guys that, it's really funny to me to see everybody. They write in my comments, how do you ever get to 700 pounds? How does that even happen? Is that even possible? I don't even think it's possible, all this stuff. Meanwhile, just this week, I met two people that are 700 pounds on TikTok that are going through a calorie
Oh,
restrictive
wow.
exercise thing. And I'm trying to talk to them, and I keep watching this because the truth of the matter with the calorie restrictive mindset, and then with the metabolic disease we have in this country and the food environment we have, like, we're going to see a ton of people that are 700 pounds because it's wrecking people's, it's wrecking people's hormones, and it's wrecking their lymphatic system, which is really what's causing this epidemic, I think. And so I'm
Mhm.
seeing all this now, but it reminds me of what I went through the last 26 years of how I destroyed my metabolism with this restricted mindset. And in this last 3 years, I just had two recent blood tests, and I don't think I've
Mhm.
ever felt better in my life. And it's because my hormones are finally healing, my testosterone's healing, my iron's healing, and all my hormones have come back. And I've never had more lean tissue grow and fat burn off of my body, and actually had more energy. And what I'm even finding was that there was a link between the red blood cells in my plasma that was carrying, the oxygen to my body, that's even getting better. And that's why I'm feeling so much better. There's so much more to it. And I'm only saying these things because to try to
Yeah.
boil that down to manipulating our bodies through calories is absolutely insane when you really think
Mhm.
about it. That you're not gonna
Yeah.
tackle any of the hormone imbalances and all the nuances in our body that it really takes to address, because it's difficult. And so they really just want to go after this calorie because it gives it a simple thing to watch out for, and we can manipulate our body size by
Right.
starving it. But it's crazy. It's not. It's exactly what they want us to do, to keep going on this roller coaster and to never
Yeah.
identify that the food matters, right? And it's not an accident to me. And that's why it's just been, I've just never been more clear in my mind. And I see people getting free now from actually just trying to nourish it and putting all that calorie restrictive method away, and all that really all that dogma that we've all been fed for so long. But it's so
Yeah.
difficult to get people to see that side.
I have a question after what you've shared, Todd. You've been in the ketogenic community for a bit and now in the carnivore community. I'm curious, is the whole idea of stop counting the calories and focus on the foods you're actually eating big in the ketogenic community?
No, not as much, because the reason why, the biggest proof of that is the fact that when to really do this, you have to prioritize nourishment. And if you're going to prioritize nourishment, you're not going to get that out of fruits and vegetables. It's just taking up valuable room and messing up your gut digestion when you need to. If you got a lot to heal, you got a lot of gut health to heal, and you got a lot of, lean tissue to grow back, you really want to focus on saturated fats and proteins, especially, there's this whole craze right now of people chasing those high fiber drinks that it'll slow down the gastric emptying of like carbohydrates so that you don't spike your insulin and stuff. And then there's, all the GLP-1 craze, too, that's going on.
Totally.
But you can totally do the same thing with a high fat diet, because the gastric emptying is like simple carbohydrates empty really quickly, and that absorbs into your bloodstream and it spikes your insulin. But protein is like in the middle, and it empties moderately slow and causes the natural release of GLP-1s. But the slowest gastric emptying food there is saturated fat. And so when you put in saturated fat into your diet, it's like those fiber drinks that everybody are using. The only difference is it's an essential fatty acid that your body actually needs. When you're doing it with empty calories and carbohydrates, you're not getting anything essential. You're still starving to death. You're just manipulating your body, to slow down the gastric emptying and create GLP-1s anyways. So you just become malnourished and you never heal the underlying problem. But carnivore, you get the building blocks and you heal your hormones while getting the GLP-1s, while fixing the gut health. And that's why it's free in all of us. It's why Lindy, coined the phrase, the, off switch, is because all the noise quiets down. You get free from, all the endorphin fixes from the, from the bliss point foods that they get, got us all addicted on.
Absolutely. And then one more thing, Todd, is, the show, what is it called? The Biggest Loser?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the go-to protocol that they use to get these people to lose hundreds of pounds?
Calorie restrictive and working out, create a calorie deficit, work them out like dogs. Don't feed them. They try to feed them high volume, low calorie food, but that just, I don't think you wouldn't have found any of our ancestors going, man, I'm not going to eat any more of this buffalo or caribou because it's going to make my butt look big. They weren't counting freaking calories, right? That they knew that if they got the animal fat and protein, that it was going to give them the health and the energy and the strength to not be sick, to make it through, winters.
Yeah.
I mean, they would eat all that they could. You don't see a wolf, watching his portion size, like none of the other carnivores do this. But that's what's so stupid about making this all about portion sizes and control, is that we're trying to take over and manipulate our body through these stupid matrices that don't mean anything. When if we just let our bodies heal and we let our body's own hormone system take over, it's the best healer, doctor, regulator that we could possibly have to make us the optimal people we can be as far as health goes and everything else. And it's so hard how are we going to help people get their mindset on that? Because when I watch these guys, two of them this week, 700 pounds on a 2,000 calorie diet, of eating, fiber and carbohydrates, working out. And it's like, I'm just watching them destroy their metabolism, and they're just on the path that I was on to destroy their hormones, their metabolism. It's like, if we could just get them to see the other side and feel this, it's crazy,
Hopefully you can get to them, but it is very sad. They just don't know better. They just don't know,
Nope.
Yeah. Well, what are 2 mistakes, Todd, that you would like people to avoid when they think they need to be in a calorie deficit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's bringing in a restrictive mindset to carnivore, because carnivore is a healing diet. This is why people get confused on carnivore, which is why you need a community. But because they get on carnivore and they start maybe even gaining weight or sustaining, they feel like they're not losing weight, but it's because carnivore is nourishing and it is putting muscle on you and it is putting bone density on you. And so it confuses people because they're so in this calorie restrictive mode. They're so built on gauging everything off the stupid scale, but that scale means nothing because it doesn't tell you anything about composition. But that's because that scale is tied to the calorie deficit, where when you starve yourself, you're going to lose lean body mass, which is not good. It's going to absolutely tank your metabolism and your metabolic system. But that's the matrix they've been taught to look at, so they don't even know, people are so wrapped into that thinking that they don't know what to really pay attention to. And so that's a little bit crazy. Plus, the other thing I think that's a lie that locks people into it is chasing variety over simplicity when it comes to food. I think that's, I don't think our ancestors had a whole lot of variety when it came to meat. And so that was something that locked me in on keto, was trying, and locks everybody in on keto, is trying to make the standard American diet food, but out of keto crap products, to have all these, keto snacks and keto pancakes and whatever, all the almond flour and all the junk, because we feel like we need variety. But honestly, that's a symptom of having food addiction and having dopamine addiction. And you're trying to keep that alive, where if you let that die, you start eating, I do lion diet, but not even on purpose, because I didn't choose to do lion diet. I just feel the best at red meat. And I eat like the same 3 things every day, but it has nothing to do with lighting up an endorphin, fix in my brain. It has to do with, I feel superhuman energy and strength when I eat these things now.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Todd, for your thoughts. Let's go on to our next team member. By the way, these are 2 beautiful ladies from the team, Coach Alyssa and Laura. I'm going to go to Coach Alyssa first, and then we'll wrap up with Laura. In the meantime, guys, do drop your questions. So if you just start with a capital Q, we will help you guys out throughout the rest of this live stream and answer your questions. Alyssa, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think some of the biggest mistakes you can make and why a calorie deficit might not be working is, perfect example, chronic OMADs. I mean, how many times have we heard people coming into the community saying, I've been doing OMADs for years and I can't lose weight. They're not barely even getting enough calories, but somehow they're at a weight stall or they continue to put on weight. And that's because, in one sense, you're eating too much, and on the same hand, you're eating not enough, all in one meal. So it's like you're giving your body more than it can handle, all in one sitting. So the rest just goes to waste, probably. And then for the rest of the time, you're starving yourself. And the body is so smart, it adapts to that. If you give it 1 meal a day, it's like, all right, we'll slow down. We'll try to make this last. Anything you give us, we're just going to hold on to. We're going to store it away, since obviously we're in starvation. So yeah, I think that OMADs long term are a huge mistake.
I love that you said that. And I made that mistake on a carnivore diet before. And I like to talk about this because it's very eye-opening. Even on a high-fat carnivore diet, you are at risk of under eating, especially if you do OMADs long-term. And I love that you said, Coach Alyssa, long-term, specifically OMADs, if you do it long-term and consistently. I think OMADs once or twice a week is beautiful. As long as the rest of the week you are eating 2 meals a day or 3 meals a day, or you're just making sure you're eating multiple meals, preferably a really high fat breakfast. But when you're doing OMADs for 6 months straight, like I was, there is no way you are taking care of your hormones anymore. There just isn't. And I was starting to become addicted to chasing the high that you get from a very long fast. And I would be like, wow, I feel so sharp. My mental clarity is insane. But one sign that I noticed was a red flag that I just chose to ignore because I love the feeling of the mental clarity, was right after eating my OMAD, guess what would happen? I would feel so sleepy, so tired, and I would just knock out. That's not a good sign, guys. If you are feeling sleepy after every single meal and after you eat, every time you eat, or if you're doing OMADs right after you eat your OMAD, that's not good, right? You should be feeling more energetic, more stable after eating. And so for me, it was like this endless cycle of chasing that high and then eating a lot for my OMAD and then just conking out. So love that you said that, Alyssa. We can touch on this more if you guys ask about it, but I want to move on to Laura. What's yours?
Well, I would say after what all of you have just said, so many people believe that come into carnivore believing this is a quick fix. They think that this is going to be the answer to everything. They've heard of people having great success on carnivore, and they come in and they say, I've been doing this for 2 weeks and I haven't lost a pound. I've been doing this for a month and I haven't had any significant healing. I haven't had anything positive. Although if they really stopped and thought about it, they probably do have some things, but they're so focused on looking for that weight loss that they're not seeing that these other things are happening. So believing it's a quick fix and not trusting the process of your body resetting and healing, I would say is a big thing. It's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. So you have to think of it that way. It's a lifestyle. It's a change that you're going to make for the better. And it is going to be a long-term thing. Suddenly going back, doing 3 months of carnivore and then saying, okay, well, now I'm going to return to my sad American diet and think that you're going to have success with that. It's not going to happen. So think of it. It's a lifestyle. So many people give up and quit before their body has had time to heal and reset. You need to allow that. Healing takes months, sometimes years. Metabolic issues do not happen overnight. They are a long-term effect of our life, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So to believe that you're suddenly going to have all this great healing and success immediately is just crazy. You need to allow your body time for all these things to happen. And so consistency, patience with the process, and it will deliver. You will see life-changing results, but you have to give it time, and you can't calorie restrict in the meantime. You can't decide you want to, as Alyssa said with the OMADs, we have so many people that come in and say, I don't understand. I've been doing OMADs for years, or I've been fasting. I'm a pro at fasting, but why are you here then? So all these different things add up. So calorie deficit, that's just not going to work. So anyway, that's kind of where I am. I'm big on trust the process. So
I love it. And just share how young you are.
Well, in a week and a half, I will turn 71.
Amazing. I feel like every live stream we need to showcase that because carnivore works. The results speak for itself. Okay.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, perfect. Our first question is right here on the screen. Thank you, Ali. So, Todd, tell us about this new app you're working on. What is your favorite feature on the app?
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be basically rethink. So the app is basically a macro tracker app, but also a carnivore fat to protein ratio calculator. And what it's built for is because all the macro tracker apps that are out there and all the meal planners that are out there, they take into account, they'll do like a TDE calculation for your total daily energy expenditure calculation. That's all built around calories, which we were talking about tonight, why it sucks. And then it's built around what your ideal body type is. And even those things are built on a sick population average that's not eating carnivore, that's not putting on the muscle and the bone density that you're supposed to have. So even those numbers are stupid. And all those numbers cause us to completely get off base, and it starts to make us worry if we're eating wrong, where this is going to concentrate on just fat to protein, and it's not going to include any calories because we don't care about them at all. And it's not going to include a ideal body weight because we don't care about that at all. We're just going to calculate a good starting point for how much protein that you need to start at, and then or how to calculate a fat to protein ratio so that you can start working on that, whether it's 1-to-1, 1.5-to-1, 2-to-1. And then it'll make it easy, because it gets difficult if you're trying to track that. And we don't really promote much tracking, but so many people are coming from that side that they want to see it really bad because they have a hard time, visualizing it. So this was the best way to put it together. But also within the app, I think my best part is it's going to help guide you into what's important. So there's going to be reminders on there to take your measurements like once a month, and take your own pictures, before and after pictures, so that you can see without the scale, trying to guide you, but your own for your own eyes the changes that are happening and pay attention to the composition changes. And there's going to be a diary section with bullet points of things that you could be mindful of health changes and things that are, pain and problems that are being healed that you might not notice if you're not writing them down, and then checking those off the list as they heal. And so it's going to be more designed for body recomposition, fat to protein ratios, and keeping track of healing matrices and body recomposition measurements. So
Amazing. Sounds like a wonderful app. Keep us posted on how it goes, Todd.
for sure.
Okay. We've got Anne next. Hello from Western Australia. That's awesome. Welcome. How is my kidney function get so down on the carnivore diet? My bad cholesterol is also up from 6 to 9, and I don't want to take a statin. So what can I do? Kidney function is down on a carnivore diet. Does she know this from lab work is what I'm guessing? What do you think, Alyssa?
I mean, okay, something super common that happens is we go carnivore, we go to the doctor, we get blood tests, and all of a sudden, oh, you got kidney disease, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. And yeah, time and time again, it's not true. You retest, and what do you know? Oh, it must have been a mistake. And the problem is sometimes people are fasting too long or not enough. So before you go in for your next retest, make sure you've been very hydrated the day before and the morning of, and do not fast more than 12 hours. There is a sweet spot. So keep it, 10 to 12 hours. And so if you have to eat a late night snack the night before, do it. If that means it's not going to skew your results and you won't get diagnosed with bad kidney function. But just make sure you ask for your eGFR, because that's a much more accurate test.
Beautiful. Thank you, Alyssa. Next question from this is just a comment. I saw this in the chat and I just want to share. I feel like when I meet a lot of you guys in real life out in the wild, it gives me a really good idea that carnivore is in fact blowing up, because when you guys come to me and you're like, oh my gosh, I watch your videos, or are you steak and butter gal, or are you beef and butter girl? Like, it doesn't matter. You can call me anything. When I get to meet you guys, I'm like, yes, this is a positive thing, because carnivore is in fact spreading. When people are in the wild and they're linking up, because we're all carnivores here, it's so awesome and it gives me goosebumps every single time. I get it if you're shy and you don't want to say hi and you see me somewhere, but if you aren't shy, I would love to give you a hug. I would love to get to know you, and I would love to hear your story in person. This is why I make time to go to more meetups, to do my own meetups, okay? And more on that later. Please say hi. You don't need to be shy. I don't bite. I love meeting you guys. It just makes me so happy. So sorry that you didn't say hi. Next time. I'll be in Montana next year, by the way.
Yeah. I wonder if JDW doesn't know that we're doing an annual meetup in Bozeman, because JDW, tell her why you were here.
Exactly. So I was in Bozeman, Montana, because I was hosting my first ever Steak and Butter Gang carnivore meetup. Okay. And perfect timing. I'll just put this up. JDW, we're doing it again, just so you know. So you don't have to be, awkward in the wild. You can be among hundreds of carnivores in person and just have a good time. Todd, do you want to share the details?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be on July 4th and 5th again, just like it was this year. And it's because, well, Bozeman's my hometown. And so that's where I'm at. And we do a heck of a fireworks show. If you're from Bozeman, you might have seen us out by Gallatin Gateway in the big badass fireworks area out there. That's my stand and why we do fireworks. But so we do a big fireworks display and a 4th of July barbecue, and it's a social event instead of that's kind of what we're trying to center the SBG meetup on. And then on the 5th we do a speaking arrangement and then a VIP dinner as well. And that's over at the Rock and TJ Ranch. And so we're going to be doing that annually because it was a pretty big success and we all loved hanging out. So yeah, it's our community building for there's people wanting them in different towns. That you're gonna have to do a bunch of these meetups, Bill. But yeah, so that's gonna be the 4th and 5th.
I love that idea. Let us know which town you would love to see a carnivore meetup at, and we will take note. But I'm glad that our debut and our yearly one is in Bozeman, Montana, because it really is the perfect location for carnivores. It's pretty central, but you get the most gorgeous nature views, scenery, and the meat in Montana is delicious. And we were able to serve actually Utah beef, which is it right next to Montana or is it close to Montana?
Oh, it's real close. Yeah, that's only 5 hours away. Yeah.
Right. So local beef, obviously USA ranch raised beef is what we're going to serve at our carnivore meetups. It's just a great time. So more details linked down below in the description box as well. Todd, this is for you. Tim wants to know what helped you reduce lipedema.
Well, first of all, healing. And second of all, the more that I'm working on this, the more that I realize that from hormone deregulation in my body, from being so malnourished and having my hormones screwed up, it has also messed with a lot of things, including my lymphatic system and the regeneration and healing in my lymphatic system. And the more that I do that, so healing, number one, in my hormones, and then getting primed so that I could do fasting, becoming more fat adapt, so that my body, so that I could do fasting through and have autophagy and take away some of that tissue. But then also, when I was able to do the fasting, I became way more fat adapt, and so I lost my taste for salt, and my body started getting metabolic fluid from my stored fat cells, which made a huge difference, because then I didn't drink as much, which gave my lymphatic system, it just gave my body some time to not have so much fluid retention on it, and it gave it time to heal. And so, but ultimately, my doctors told me I was never going to be able to get the hard impacted tissue from my lymph impacted tissue off my legs. And I wore off over 9 inches on my right leg and almost 10 inches on my left leg now, which they said would never happen. And it absolutely is happening through autophagy, through hormone healing, and just over time. It's not super fast, but I would argue that I would have already been here 20 years ago if I would have stopped the calorie restrictive model and started carnivore. And so all this stuff where we want these quick results by starving our body, because we see it happen quicker, we see the scale go down, we see our body get smaller, that's not really the fastest way, because I would have healed this 20 years ago if I would have known this, if I would have taken what's called the slow route. But this is not really the slow route. This really is the fastest way. This is the path of least resistance to actually heal instead of manipulate,
Good point. It is the fastest way, because you're not doing the yo-yo back and forth, and you're not slowly killing your metabolism and possibly getting sicker and sicker slowly. Whereas if you do the shortcut way, you are constantly doing that cycle. You will never get anywhere, honestly. So good point. Let's keep going. Another question for you. What are your thoughts on exogenous GLP-1?
Well, I just am not a fan of manipulating the body at all. I'm a fan of letting the body do what it needs to do, and which means we heal it. I think that those things work. And GLP-1s, we don't know the long-term, we don't know the long-term consequences of manipulating those GLP-1s. We have no clue what it's actually going to do. We've seen it in high doses that it's pretty catastrophic, right? I mean, there's a $2 billion lawsuit happening right now against GLP-1s. And we already know that. And I know that there's an argument on the microdosing and stuff. And the argument is, well, if you do that and you do a really restricted diet, but I can tell you this, go on TikTok for 5 minutes, scroll through TikTok and watch all the people that are hawking GLP-1s. And they are not talking about a healthy diet. What they're talking about is being able to eat junk and get away with it. And there's no free lunches in this world. You're going to pay the piper one way or another. And people use it to enable addictions, and that's the truth of the matter. And that's why I think it's going to do way more harm than good when you can just do the carnivore diet. And it's not going to happen as quickly because you're not abusing the system, you're not abusing your body's hormones, but over time they're going to heal. And you can do that with high fat for the slow gastric emptying. Your body will produce GLP-1s, you'll heal at the same time, and over the longer period of time it would seem at first, you're gonna get stronger and you're gonna get leaner over a longer period of time. But the weight that everybody's losing especially with the high doses of GLP-1s, that's not good. You're just losing lean body mass, and there's no telling that you're going to recover from that and never be able to gain it back. Plus, most of these people that are taking those high doses, if it doesn't make them sick, they also have to stay on them forever, which means that, when do we take time to let the body get nourished and heal on those things? I don't see it. Like, I just don't see that there's any way that taking, if we look when we started manipulating our body through diets, are we better off since we started doing that, like in the 1960s and 70s when we started the diet culture? Is our species better off for doing that? Are we killing it on that? I really don't think so.
Killing ourselves instead, or
exactly
killing themselves instead, doing what they've been telling everybody to do, diet all this time. And with the GLP-1s, what's the end game? What's the end game? When are you going to be able to stop, and when are you going to be able to have a normal life, eat healthy, and maintain, if you're not dosing yourself, be it micro or max, with that stuff?
I actually do wonder what happens to the people who stop.
They gain the weight back. They gain the weight back. They go right back to eating, because, again, like Todd said, they're not saying, oh, you need to really eat this healthy diet and work out regularly to maintain your muscle mass. They're like, yeah, oh, I don't care if I could have a donut, but I won't want 5 donuts. I'll just want 1 now. That's kind of the mindset that I'm seeing out there a lot. It's like, they're not telling you, it's not eat better. You might hear, oh yes, eat a whole food diet and make sure you go to the gym. But I know people that are doing this, and that's not what they're doing. They're eating the same things they used to eat. They're just eating less of it because they're not as hungry for it. But what's the end game? How do you get off of it? And when are you able to ever get off of it without going right back to where you were?
Wow. If you're watching this video, I'd also love to know your thoughts on this whole trend of GLP-1s, exogenous and endogenous. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, this one. Hello, all. I think I found my solution to the months and months of waking up between 1 to 3 a.m. I eat crunchy air-fried beef fat trimmings. That's great. Is this safe to do possibly forever? Laura, what do you think?
Have at it. And I might try that myself because I still have that 3 a.m. wake up quite frequently. And then I'm done. It's like, okay, I'm awake, and that's all there is to it. But I love beef fat trimmings. I have them usually in my freezer, throw a few in the air fryer to go along if I have a leaner steak, and sometimes whatever else I'm eating. I think it's a good thing.
Beautiful. I agree. Absolutely, you can do it forever. This is for you, Alyssa. How high should our fat to protein ratio be to expedite healing?
Well, it depends on person and what you're trying to heal. But we know that a lot of magic happens at the 2-to-1 ratio. I don't recommend everybody just jumps there overnight. It's something to work up to. And like I said, depending on what you're trying to heal, but that's where a lot of magic happens for sure.
Beautiful. Trudy, where does organic beef and organic butter fit in the equation, Todd?
I love these questions because it's like those people that say, no, it's all natural. It comes from the earth. I'm like, do you know that there's nothing on the earth that didn't come from the earth? Like everything, even chemicals, come from the earth, everything comes on there. So mostly all natural and organic and stuff is just tag words. You got to be real careful on that. Most of them are bull crap, and the truth of the matter is you're way better off on eating any beef that you can get or any ruminant animals than fixating on these things. It's pretty crazy how forgiving ruminant animals are. That's what makes them such a blessing, is that they really do take the hit for us. They really do filter most of the proteins, and they're really a blessing to our diets. But there's a small, accordingly, I don't know, there's a small percentage that help if you do the grass-fed, grass-finished, but it's pretty minute. And so I think if you just try to get as local as you can and try to know what they're putting in it, I think that's about the best that you really have to pay attention to. And I wouldn't even fixate on it. you're going to get 99% of the, you know, the positive effects out of it, no matter what you're eating, as long as it's, you know, ruminant animals, in my opinion.
Perfect. Love that. Okay. Do carnivores need to eat a small amount of carbs at all? Alyssa, would love to hear your thoughts on this.
So there is a daily requirement for all humans to have of carbs, and you may not know this. So I recently found this out. It's actually zero. Zero carbs is the daily requirement for all humans to sustain life. So
Love that.
no, carnivores do not. There's just there's no reason to do it. Yeah, so there's some really exciting stuff. If you listen to Ben Bickman, he talks about this as well. And he's not even like a carnivore guy, but he talks about kind of debunking the myth of this whole insulin suppression idea and, oh, we have to have a little bit of carbs. And look, I totally respect Dr. Sivas, but I disagree with his theory. And that's all I'll say.
If you could just summarize. Oh, I'd love to know
Okay.
Dr. Sivas' theory real quick, if you don't mind summarizing.
Yeah, his theory is that we need to eat a small amount of carbs. Otherwise, our body just stops producing insulin and we become more insulin resistant. But
Oh.
Ben Bickman has his own theories, but actually studies to back it, where if anybody, no matter what diet you're eating, even if you're a carbaholic, if you go 24 hours without any carbs, whether you're fasting or just have no carbs, and you take that glucose tolerance test, you are going to fail the test because your body hasn't been making that. So if you want to cheat the system and pass the test, all you got to do is have a tiny bit of carbs within that 24-hour window, whether you're keto, carnivore, sad dieter, and you'll pass the test. So it's not some, oh, if you don't have carbs for a long time, you lose your ability to make insulin. It's just simply not true.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Little researcher here who knows everything. I love it. Thank you, Alyssa.
I was just going to
Laura
say,
wanted to chime in. Yes.
every egg has one carbohydrate. So eat your eggs and you'll get your carbs.
Oh, yes. That's true. There are carbs on a carnivore diet. If you need more carbs, like let's say you work out a lot, which I know there's lots of athletes on a carnivore diet, and you need the carbs for whatever reason, there's dairy, right? You can have yogurt, you can have kefir. You can even have straight raw milk if you need it. So just experiment, guys. But no, you don't need to have carbs to survive and thrive. Keep going. This is War Paint. Welcome. I started 6 days ago. Congrats. Steaks, bacon, eggs, and butter. Is it normal to have low energy, stiff leg muscles, and very loose stools? I do see weight loss of 8 pounds already. 8 pounds in 6 days? That's pretty good. I'm 63 and I do a lot of walking. Let's start with Todd, or you can take this, Todd.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's 100% normal. Like everything you just said, there's 100% normal. This is, I mean, your gut's changing, your fuel source is changing. You're having to deal with the fat that you're not, your stomach's not used to processing yet. The muscle ache-ness and the fatigue and stuff is from not, working on being more fat adapt and getting energy from fat. And your muscles are just now kind of getting through all the glucose, the stored glucose, and you're running to the end of that. So yeah, all of this is normal, but you definitely can alleviate some of this by, eating a little bit more fat and I guess what would you guys say? Taking some electrolytes for a little bridge if they need it. Those things can help you through
cramps.
it.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. And then for the loose stools, maybe taking more electrolytes will probably not help with the loose stools.
Yeah, true.
With the loose stools, I know Coach Alyssa has fantastic, simple fixes to get it fixed quicker. But for those who are willing to just give it time and just let the body adapt, that is the surest way to get through the loose stools, is just time, because it makes sense that your body's just not yet ready to understand how to absorb and digest all the fats you're eating on a carnivore diet. So time will absolutely fix that. But everything you are worried about, normal. Okay, Jim says obese people are malnourished. It doesn't make sense to limit calories if you are malnourished. Do you agree, Todd?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the big shockers, right? That
Yep.
whole truth right there plays against the mainstream narrative that calories are all that matters and that keeping track of fuel is all that matters. But that's what keeps us locked into this stupid thing, is that when we only focus on the calories, then we end up eating nutrient deficient calories and simple carbohydrates, because that's what we're most addicted to. And we're chasing this dopamine fix. And we're chasing it too because we're like self-medicating all of our screwed up hormones. And so we're trying to make ourselves feel better and trying to satisfy our hormones with these temporary dopamine fixes all the time. But all we end up doing is keep putting these empty calories in there that's just for fuel. And so, yeah, we end up extremely large and heavy with a lot of body fat, all this stored fuel that we can't use, insulin resistance, but we never did put the protein or the fat in there, the things that our body was really screaming for. It's got us all screwed up. So, yeah, that makes absolutely no sense. That's what I'm saying. Like, none of these wolves are out there thinking about it shouldn't eat too much or it's going to get sick. Like for longevity of all the other carnivore species, if that was the case, they wouldn't eat so much. They eat until they're absolutely stuffed because they know that's where they're going to get their strength and their health from. It's what's going to make them formidable and, in the pecking order of life there. And so they eat and get stronger. We're the only carnivore that sits here and tries to limit fat and protein like it's going to hurt us when it's the very thing that sets us free. I mean, it's crazy.
Amazing. Yeah. Dawn, anyone incorporating vibration plate along with carnivore to break a stall? Anyone?
I mean, I use a vibration plate all the time.
I use mine, but not necessarily to break a stall. But
No.
What is the purpose of one of a vibration plate?
So many benefits. Go ahead, Todd.
Well, I mean, if by stall, if you're talking about water, I mean, yeah, that you can move some fluid, sometimes. I mean, like if I'm having fluid retention, that's a lymphatic thing, I will definitely use the vibration plate to move fluid. That definitely helps, but you're not going to move fat, and it's not really a stall. The things that break stalls is getting out of a cortisol area or being under eating or, raising your metabolism. Those are the things that get you out of a stall. But you can move some fluid that'll move the scale, if you want to, which is some fluid, with a vibration plate.
Yeah, maybe you could break a stall by releasing the water weight that your body is clinging onto, and possibly a vibration plate could help. Maybe that's what she's talking about. Laura, any thoughts?
I've just recently gotten mine, and I have it below the table where I sit and do these Zoom calls all the time. And I love it because I was having difficulty sitting still that long, having to be sitting for a couple hours sometimes. And so I just run it down there. It shakes my legs, and my legs feel amazing, and my whole body feels more energized. So I think there's something to it. Honestly, since I moved it under the table, I haven't pulled it out to use it anywhere else. So I'll use my rebounder for other things when I want to move the lymphatic system. But under here, it makes my legs feel amazing. I played like 10 hours of pickleball last week. So, and then paddleboarded 3 miles standing, so my legs were a little tired. This feels great. It just makes them feel better. I feel more energized.
Amazing. And what are the benefits you get, Alyssa?
Well, number one, lymphatic flow. It really does help to shake out those, any clogs you might have or sluggish lymphatic system. But I guess I've learned so many of the other benefits that I kind of forgot. The main reason why most gyms will have a vibration plate, because we can improve our bone density, we can improve our lymphatic flow. But I guess they actually use it in gyms because when you exercise on the vibration plate, it gives you like something like 10 times the workout because you're using muscles to stabilize yourself that you normally wouldn't be using. So any movement you do on there will help. So I mean, hey, Maybe it will help you break a stall. It's worth a try.
Keep us posted, Dawn. Okay, Bubbles says, I'm struggling to find a good carnivore meal that I can take to work for lunch. They don't have refrigerators or any way to reheat food. I've been putting bacon in a cooler, but it's not ideal. Todd, any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, like when I was making, this was before carnivore, but I was keto. When I was making meat, I would take an air fryer to work. Well, and Alyssa did this too for forever. I would take an air fryer to work and a little portable one. And then I would take my meat with me in a little cooler with some ice packs. And I would just take it there and set it in my office. And then at lunchtime, I would go outside so I didn't stink up the place. But I would throw, my my meat in the air fryer and it would be done in 8 minutes, and then I just eat it right out of the air fryer. And I did that every day.
Perfect. Let's keep going. Angela, I love carnivore. I've been on carnivore since June 21st. I always have had skin issues, but it's getting worse all over. How long does it take for skin to heal? It took me 6 months. And for those with a lot of skin issues, the skin is the last to heal. So with 6 months in mind, Angela, give it more time for sure. You're what, a month and a half?
Yeah, I just had a
Yeah.
friend that came to me almost 90 days ago now, and she was pretty upset because she had a rash that wouldn't go away all over her body on her legs and arms, and it would not go away, skin outbreak. And she's and I said, I bet in 90 days you'll see a significant difference. And she's just coming up on 90 days, and it's like 85% gone. And she'd been taking medication and creams and steroids for the last 2 years, and it was only getting worse. So yeah, I think you're going to notice a huge difference in 90 days.
Beautiful. Okay, this one is from Tom. I'm an SBG member and finishing up the 90-day challenge. Congrats. I'm staying in the community because I've learned so much. Where do you recommend I start or restart in September? We love hearing this. Thank you so much for sharing that. Where do we think Tom and Nina should go in September, or what should she or he do? What do you think, Laura?
I would decide where I enjoyed being on the calendars, and I would just continue with that. Honestly, I just kind of went into a natural pattern of 2 MADs. And then eventually, as time went on, when my body feels like it or felt like it, I would go into fasting. And I might only do a 48, I might do a 24. Sometimes I do 109. So it just depends. But find where you're comfortable, what you enjoyed. If there was a section in there, if you liked alternating 2 MADs and OMADs, whatever makes you feel good. If you have finished the 90-day challenge and you're feeling amazing, go with what makes you feel good. Be intuitive.
Beautiful. I love that. And since we're talking about the 90-day challenge, for our new viewers here who maybe just joined the carnivore community, just learned about this lifestyle, if you're looking for some structure, maybe some help and guidance, we do 90-day transformation challenges, and we reset every single month. So at the top of each new month, we have a lot of new people coming in wanting to start a carnivore diet for healing, weight loss, energy, better sleep, you name it. You can get all of those benefits. And Todd, 90 days is kind of the goal, right? Not 30 days anymore. It's 90 days. What do you think?
Oh, for sure. And I think 90 days and beyond, honestly, we're just sucking you in the door, but then you're going to fall in love with the community. Because what I honestly find is that, well, I mean, that's just true for me because I've been here 2 years now. So that's because it is my environment, but absolutely, I even up in open chat today, they're asking me if creatine was helping. And I remembered that, everything that I've ever been able to decisively figure out if it's helping me or not, if it's bull crap or not, has been that I have to do it for 90 days and really see the change. But then I take it away for a day or two and I see if I miss it. That's because even when you're healing, and that's why in that app, we're making a spot so that you can really pay attention to the small things and write them down, because they happen incrementally over 90 days and you might not notice them. But when you look back after 90 days, if you make note of it, these things are huge, and once you really see it and feel the difference, and if you were to go away and stray off the diet, you're going to know in a hurry how much better you were actually feeling. When you go back to the old way of eating or slipping off, you're going to be pretty miserable at that point, and you're going to be looking for your environment again that was keeping you feeling so good. So, but yeah, 90 days is definitely the minimum.
Well said. And so if you guys are looking for a team to help you out, keep you on track, and also a whole community to do it with, sbgmeetup.com is shown on the screen. It should be the first link if you guys want that clickable link in the description box. We'd love to meet you and welcome you in. Okay, we have a couple minutes left, so let's do some rapid fire questions here. How can I tell if I'm eating enough daily, Coach Alyssa?
How's your energy? Of course, we don't usually say to track unless you're at the troubleshooting part. If you've already been carnivore for a little bit and you're having low energy, maybe just type in what you ate, track it for a day or two, and see in Chronometer. And you should, make sure that you're getting around 1 pound or 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass or desired body weight.
Awesome. Do we know of any meetups near NH, New Hampshire?
New Hampshire. Yep.
Yes.
I do not. I'm way far away from you, Tim.
We're in the West Coast, Todd and I.
I'm in the middle of the state. No, I don't. I'm in Tennessee, and I don't know of anything coming up in that area. I'm sorry. I know they just had one in Boston. That's about as close as I can think of. But that was like.
Okay. Is Lisa Wiedemann somewhere around there?
She's in New Jersey, but I know there's no meetups coming. If you want Lisa, you got to catch her on a cruise ship.
Right.
These days. Or Cabo. You could come to Cabo in January. We'll be there with Lisa, or at least I will be.
How fun. And before that, in November, we're all hopping on a cruise from Hack Your Health, Tampa, Florida. Yeah. Exactly. And we're going to be in Hack Your Health convention right before that. And that's linked down below since we're talking about it. It is, in my opinion, probably at this moment, the best carnivore keto convention there is. It's just such a wonderful event of learning, connection. And then also, of course, the opportunity to meet all the doctors that you're learning from on YouTube. We're going to be there. We're going to be presenting. And so we'd love to see you there. It's linked down below as well if you want to attend this convention. Let's keep going. Tamara, welcome. I just joined your group. Yay. Is the 90-day challenge the priming protocol? Yes, the 90-day challenge. So the priming protocol is the first 30 days of the 90-day challenge. And then month 2, month 3, if you do choose to follow Coach Raymond's program, Raymond will take you through intermittent fasting and then extended fasting. Did you want to add to it, Alyssa?
Yeah. If you want to just be in SBG and you're considered being in the 90-day challenge, whether you decide to follow the priming and fasting calendars or not, you can still be part of it and just come to all of the Zoom chats that we have. There's one literally almost every day of the week. So I'm so glad that you're here joining us.
Welcome, Tamara, or Tamara. Sorry if I mispronounced it, but welcome. Okay, my parents think that green vegetables and nuts are good. What should I do, Todd?
Join SBG and should let your parents listen in on the conversation in SBG so that it's not just you telling them, and so that you can get all the information. Probably one conversation from you is not going to change, but if they see the change in you plus the change in all the people and the advice behind it and the, kind of the process there, I think you can start to change them. But honestly, I think results speak louder than anything. And with a little bit of subliminal messaging in the background there when they hear, leaving it on there so that they could connect the dots. But honestly, the thing that made the most people in my life believers was, coming from death to living again and getting my health back. And everybody's like, okay, well, at a certain point, it can't be wrong. Right. So, because there's not a pill or a drug or a doctor on the planet that was able to do in 26 years what carnivore did in 33 months. So that's the biggest, proof.
Excellent. And we'll wrap up with this one. Thank you so much. I was 226. Now I'm 209 and my weight loss has stalled. Do I consume less fat? I eat a lot of ground beef, 85-15. Should I be eating 93-7 to break the stall? Todd, why don't you take it?
No, don't eat less fat, probably eat more fat. But I mean, there's so many questions we got to answer here. How long has it been? What are you actually eating? You said a lot of ground meat, but how much are you eating? Like, I'll just put it this way. I did OMADs for 9 months and I lost all the fluid and a little bit of fat. And then I absolutely tanked my metabolism. And I got down to where I was eating 1.25 pounds of beef a day. And I was eating like 1,480 calories or something. And I stalled and all my cravings came back. My depression came back. Just everything came flooding back. And I was pretty miserable because for that first like 5 months, I felt great. And then it all came crashing down. And then I came to SPG and I went from eating 1.25 pounds of meat a day to eating 7 pounds of meat a day. And I lost an additional like 200 pounds for a total of 335 pounds. So, and everything healed. And so that's what this whole talk has been about, is that calorie restrictive and the restricted model is nonsense, especially if you just join SPG and learn how to heal your metabolism and to crank it up and then listen to your body, and your body will get through that stall and you'll heal for sure.
Beautiful. So well said. And do keep us posted on these weekly live streams as well. All of you watching, we have so many returning viewers who just rely on these live streams to keep us posted and to keep learning and to keep staying inspired. And that's the beauty of these live streams. They're free. Okay. They're part of this YouTube world and you can just hop on anytime or watch the playback whenever you're free. Any final words of encouragement, thoughts, closers? I'll have you, Todd, close up.
Yeah, for sure. I just think, like this, literally, I've just been noticing it this week, especially since my hormones have been healing up and I got through the oxalate dumping. This is about the best I've ever felt in my life. And so I've been really looking at the blood test to see what's been making the difference and what's healing. And it's absolutely been, been the nutritional input of all the protein and fat that I've been eating that's healing the hormones. And that's really regulating everything, and everything's finally healing. And it took 33 months, and I had some ups and downs and some oxalate dumping and some kidney stones and some detoxing. And it makes you wonder, you go through those stalls, but then you come through it and it's like all the healing happens then. And you realize, yeah, this is the path out. So you guys are on a really good trajectory. And I don't get paid to say this. I don't get paid to be an SPG. I think you all need to be an SPG in that environment so that you can see it for yourself, because I couldn't see it until I was in a community. And I cannot say it enough how important it is to see a whole group of people that have the same doubts and the same issues that you did break through it, get their health back, and completely destroy the dogma that's out there saying that this is unhealthy, unsustainable, and it's going to hurt you. You will see through the lie if you see people completely turning into new people with life and health and vitality, getting it all back, coming from the grave. You will know that what's going on out there is complete and total bullshit, and you will see what you got to do. So that's my closer.
So, well said as always. Yep. And I know a lot of you guys watching these live streams, both Todd and the SPG team's live streams, are already in the Steak and Butter Gang. But if you're new here, we would love to welcome you in. As always, it's going to be linked down below in the description box. And one request, I just thought of it. If you guys watch YouTube videos, whether it's carnivore videos or ketogenic or just normal videos, and you feel like people in the comments could use a community and a carnivore diet, spread the word for us. Spread the word. Tell people to join SPG everywhere. And we would love to keep growing together and to keep helping people as a team. So love you guys so much. We'll see you next week in our next live stream. Thank you.
Good night, all.
Take care. Good night.